So, good afternoon, everyone. Still only 17 participants are there. We will start our lecture now. So, I will share my screen. Okay. So, am I audible to everyone? And my screen is visible to you? Yes? Is it visible properly? Fine. No one is giving reply, I guess. Okay. So, I will start. Okay. Got the reply from Pooja. Fine. So we will start with our first unit. Already in the morning, Shinde sir have sent you chapter 1, sorry, class test first link. So we are a little bit behind, but no matter. We will try to cover up these 3-4 lectures gap very soon. So we will start with our first unit, that is overview of cloud computing. So here in this particular unit, we are going to cover the bits like history of cloud computing, evolution of cloud computing, traditional versus cloud computing, then why to go for cloud computing. So in this previous points like history, evolution, in those points we are going to cover what is exactly why we are switching towards cloud computing, which were the traditional systems and why they were not so useful, and that's why we go for cloud computing. That type of history, that type of evolution we are going to cover over here. Then the comparison between traditional and cloud computing. So that comparison points we are going to cover. Then why cloud computing, that means its benefits, its advantages we are going to cover in that particular bit. Then cloud services model like IaaS, PaaS and SaaS, those we are going to study briefly. Fine. Then those cloud services models, those are very important. Already many of you are placed, so very less chances of these service model being asked in your interview questions, but still you be prepared with the details or architectural point of views for these bits or these points, because these are the service models. That's why we have to study them thoroughly. Then cloud deployment models like public, private, hybrid and community cloud. So these deployment models are there for study. Then we will try to deploy these models in our practicals also. Okay, so small programs related to these we will cover, and then what type of installation that is been required over there, that we will see in the practicals. I know this is also the practical slot, but in our yesterday's lecture or our first lecture, we have just gone through the syllabus of our subject. not yet started with actual syllabus. So I was thinking like we will start with at least the history of cloud computing, so that it will be like you will get more and more familiar with the subject what we are going to study in this particular subject. So that's why I will be able to give you proper assignments related to this. So that's why we are starting with the unit. And if we cover like 3-4 bits of this, then I will share the questions, or maybe after 1 hour of this lecture, I will send you the questions, basic questions, which will be submitted by you in the next week. Okay, so in coming 2-3 lectures, we will try to cover all the things which are useful for you to solve that particular assignment questions. Fine. Then these are the cloud deployment models, that is public, private, hybrid, and community cloud. Then benefits and challenges of cloud computing is there. So here benefits, like whatever we have seen, like advantages, why we are going for cloud computing, that part we are going to cover here. And then the challenges, though we are deploying, though it is beneficial for us, that cloud computing, but still what type of challenges we are facing in future, or what type of problems are there that we may face or we are facing, that we are going to study in this particular bit, benefits and challenges of cloud computing. And then role of virtualization in cloud computing. So why to go for virtualization? Virtual, as we know, it is not in exist. It is like as we know, the virtual memory, real memory, these concepts are there. So virtual, which is not in exist, but it is showing its existence. So in that way, we are going to deploy the cloud computing. So why we are going for actual virtualization? What it is not in exist directly. So that part we are going to cover. So these bits we are going to cover in this particular unit, that is overview of cloud computing. Then as the part we are going through the primary structure of this particular unit. So about title of the chapter, as we know, the title of the chapter is overview of cloud computing. So overview, that is the brief idea, what is exactly the cloud computing, why, and what are the benefits. These bits we are going to cover here. And definitely the cloud computing is what? It is the on-demand availability of computer system resources, especially the data storage, that is cloud storage, and computing power without direct active management by the user. So we can say that just we think about the example, like we are going to have a particular meeting, okay, and in that meeting I want to show some ideas through PPT, okay, but whatever the system that is been given to me, it is having only the operating system, and definitely the browser will be there. No MS Office installed over there, nothing. If it is Linux, then LibreOffice is also not installed on that particular machine. If this is the case, what will you do? So Google is providing us the facility of going for creating your own Word, Excel, PowerPoint, sheets or documents or the PPTs online through, through Drive. In the Drive, you are having that particular option. Okay, so what is the benefit of that? Key, no matter where you are, no matter what type of devices or the softwares that you have, if you are having only the browser and the ideas in your mind, you can create your own PPT at any moment of time, isn't it? So that particular facility or that particular uh, office platform is been given to you by Google, isn't it? So without any direct software, without any user, you are interacting or you are creating your own documents or slideshows. Okay, so this is one of the, we can say, the use or application over here. So this is how we are going to implement. Then about central idea of the chapter. So central idea, overview of cloud computing. So overview in the term itself is giving you the idea that you are going to cover all the basics and the brief introduction to this particular subject, we can say cloud computing, isn't it? So that's why this particular chapter is there in your syllabus. Then importance of the chapter in the syllabus in our course, why it is there. So as we are going for this particular course, this particular subject, cloud computing, you should have a brief idea about what it is exactly. Okay, it's a definition, its history, overview, like benefits, and all these basic things you should be aware of. So that's why this particular introductory type of a chapter should also be there, included in your syllabus. This is what the importance of this chapter. And chapter outcome. So here at the end of these chapters, student will be able to, so the first CO will be covered through this particular unit, that is choose a cloud service delivery model suitable for an organization's hardware and software needs. Okay, so here, as we know, we are going to cover different deployment model, service models in this chapter. We are going to cover the brief history, brief idea about this particular service model and the deployment models. That's why we will be able to achieve, or we will try to achieve, our first CO chapter outcome. That this one, choose a cloud service delivery model. Okay, so this we are going to or we will try to cover from the organization's point of view. So from the organization's point of view, what type of hardware, what type of softwares that are being needed, and how you're going to implement it through the clouds, that we are going to see over here. So this is the brief introduction and the points that are being covered by using our PPE format. Okay, so now let us start with actual chapter. So at the end of this chapter, I will or in the discussion only, we will try to cover up as many MCQs type of questions as we can. So at the end, we will have a class test based on the MCQs only. Okay, so our first bit is nothing but the history of cloud computing. So what is exactly cloud computing that we have seen? So it is the on-demand availability of computer system resources, especially the data storage that is in the form of cloud. So we can call it as a cloud storage, and computing power without direct active management by the user. So large clouds often have functions distributed over multiple locations. Excuse me. Each location being a data center. So maybe in the subject distributed systems in last semester, many of the ideas related to what is exactly the distributed memory, shared memory, those ideas were covered in last semester. So we will see some part of that also, and we will utilize that part also here at the time of implementing. So cloud computing relies on sharing of the resources to achieve coherence, and typically using a pay-as-you-go type of a model, which can help in reducing the capital expenses, but may also lead to unexpected operating expenses for the unaware users. So any example of distributed computing which you have studied in last semester that you want to share over here? Because this particular data that is there on the cloud, that will be shared in multiple users, isn't it? So can you give any example of this kind of a shared memory or distributed memory over here? Yes, anybody? Anybody want to say anything? Virtual machine. Can you elaborate this? Jaideep Jadhav is sending me the message like a virtual machine. So can you elaborate this? You can turn on your mic, your video as well, no problem. Yes, Jaideep, or anyone else. Virtual machine, have you deployed any of the this kind of virtual machine? Have you used? Because in the practical we are going to face this kind of a deployment over there. Okay, virtual machine provides memory and CPU. Okay, CPU as much we want, so that it can be the example of shared memory. Okay, but can you give any example means which is using this virtual machine, that kind of. Just now I told you the example like Google through Google Drive you can go for creating the Word, Excel, PowerPoint kind of a documents in that way. And those documents, if you are creating, you will be able to share with your friends. And whenever it will be shared, your friends will also have access to edit that. Just like staff members or your CCs are sending you the file, and you have to enter the data over there, maybe your database or like that. So that type of example I expect, which is real time. You are saying, Jaideep, that is just the overview or the idea behind that, but try to give the example of that. Yes, class is of 24 students and only one student is giving reply. 24 participants means only 23. I am also one of the participants. You have it, but you didn't know it. Yes. Okay, so we will stop this discussion now only because we are coming to those points in coming lectures. Fine. So history of cloud computing that we are looking into. So like in the year of 1950s, the mainframe computers were used. So have you heard the term mainframe computers, or have you seen the picture of mainframe computers? So those were very huge. Rather, we can say that its CPU was like having the size of 10 by 10 room. So they were very huge. So that were there in the year 1950s. So it was occupying entire room. Here it is. So due to the cost of buying and maintaining the mainframes, organizations couldn't afford to purchase one for each user. At that time, you were having only one particular mainframe computer, because as like now we are having uh, one computer, one student, in that way, or one laptop to one particular student. I will not say student, but child, we can say. So now the size is very less. For those huge memory, you are having very less size. But in the year of 1950s, the computers were very huge. So it was really very hard. It was not affordable, we can say. So the solution was time sharing, in which multiple users shared access to the data and CPU time. The term time sharing is the premise of cloud computing. So from here, what is exactly the time sharing that come into existence? And this is nothing but the premise of cloud computing. Then after this, in the year of 1969, in the year of 1969, Mr. J.C.R. Licklider developed the ARPANET. We have seen this particular term already in the subject data communication, computer networks also. ARPANET, that is Advanced Research Projects Agency Network. So the network that become the basis of the internet. So his vision was for everyone on the globe to be interconnected and accessing the programs and data at any site from anywhere. So as we know, the application of or advantage of internet, isn't it? So we can access anybody or his programs, his data from any site, from anywhere, isn't it? So here that particular terminology was came into existence. Then then in the year of 90s, 1970s. In the year 70s, IBM released an operating system called VM that allowed admins to have multiple virtual systems or virtual machines, VMs, on a single physical node. The VM operating system took the 50s time sharing model to the next level, and the most of the basic functions of any virtualization software that you see nowadays can be traced back to this early VM operating system. So here I want to share one example of our time. So when in the year of 2004-5, we were doing the practicals of computer networks or computer network, C programming, then data structure on one machine having the Linux platform. So at a time, 7 users we were trying to access one particular system. Okay, so on one machine, different 7 users were working, and the switching was done by using F1, F2, F3, F4, F5, F6, F7, these function keys. So if I'm dealing with F1 or the first user, my friend was working with F2, that is the second user. In that way, we were trying to work on a single machine but different user. Now also we can see different users can log on to the one single machine. Again, the Chrome is giving that particular facility. Also the Google is giving that facility, like at a time many or multiple users can log on to Gmail, but around like what can say 5-6 years back it was not possible. If you want to try, as we know now, log in with another user, that particular button or link is there on your Gmail or on the Google itself. But before those 5-6 years, that was not possible. So you have to log out from one user and then you have to enter by using another user's credential. So that was there. But now here the time sharing facility was given by IBM. Then in the year of 1990s, the telecommunication companies started offering virtualized private network connections, which meant it was possible to allow for more users through shared access to the same physical infrastructure. So this change enabled traffic to be shifted as necessary to allow for better network balance and more control over the bandwidth usage. Definitely. So meanwhile, virtualization for PC-based systems started in earnest, and as the internet became more accessible, the next logical step was to take virtualization online. So till now, the virtualization was like we can say offline, or one particular machine was giving you the access of multiple users. But now this access started to become online after this particular 1990s. Then in the year of 1997, the term cloud computing is coined by University of Texas professor Ramanatha Chellappa in a talk on a new computing paradigm. So this particular cloud computing, this phenomenon, this idea came by this particular professor Ramanatha Chellappa in University of Texas. Then in the year of 2002, Amazon Web Services were started. So Amazon created Amazon Web Services AWS, providing an advanced system of cloud services from storage to computation. So before that, it was having the benefit of only storage, but now it has started for computation. Computation means at a time, many users can interact or can they could be able to change the shared data. So this is nothing but the service given by Amazon Web Services. Then in the year of 2006, Amazon introduced the Elastic Compute Cloud, that is EC2, as a commercial web service. So the EC2 let small companies rent computers on which they could run their own computer applications. So this way it was like started for working. So running their own computer application, that means you have shared memory. Okay, so suppose I am having a machine which is having very less size, we can say. So suppose, for example, I am having 50 GBs with me. My friend is having 50 GBs with him. And this EC2 platform is giving like 1000 GB shared memory. So definitely what I will do is I will put my material or the softwares on that particular platform and try to run them from that platform, so that my data will be saved, my computer's data will be saved, and I will be using that particular shared access. Just like Google again, Gmail, we are having many different types of documents which we can put on our drive. No matter only the documents, but different software that their installations we can save on the drive, isn't it? Then some online platforms are there, like from where you can yes, so different platforms are there, different websites are there where you can execute your basic programs. Anybody want to say anything? So suppose, for example, I am doing some basic programming, okay, and I'm not having C installer, C, C++, that type of installer on my machine. I have given on the spot one particular machine which is not having any software installed on that, but definitely the browser will be provided with proper internet connectivity. Okay, then what I will do is I will use the C compiler which is there online. Okay, try it yourself, that type of okay. Many websites are also there which are giving you the online compilers, isn't it? So you can copy paste or directly paste your program over there, and you can try to execute your program. So definitely, as like your machine, it will be compiling the whole program and it will be giving you the output. But it is possible for only the basic kind of, or which the programs which are not having any kind of a different users connectivity, that type of programs. So single user program is there, you will be able to execute it by using these kind of a platforms. That means what? These kind of a compilers you can put on a shared mode, in the shared mode. So no matter you are having that particular setup or not, you can go for it. Okay, so this type of a computer applications you can execute through using this cloud. So this was the phenomenon introduced in the year of 2006. And then in the year of 2009, Google and Microsoft entered the playing field. So the Google App Engine brought low-cost computing and storage services, and Microsoft followed suit with Windows Azure. So Azure, many of you have gone through the courses like Azure, AWS, then Google Cloud platforms. Maybe in the an year ago, you have completed those kind of courses through Coursera or other platforms maybe. So the this Google App Engine was introduced in the year of 2009. And then in the year of 2010, the OneServe field service management software moves on the cloud. So, okay, so we know this is not a quite such a historical landmark as the rest of the cloud's history, but it's noteworthy for us. Fine. So in the year of 2010, OneServe has brought to you different new functionalities. So this is all about the history of cloud computing. Okay. So on the maybe on this questions will not be asked, but still at least you should be remember what type of year, how many years were there, in which year what was evolved. So how the journey has started previously, what was there with us. So in the year of 1950s, then after, what was the next step, what was the next step, in that way how we have come to this particular Microsoft or Google platform, what was there in AWS, what was there in Azure, Google Cloud, everything we are going to study now. So this is what the history of cloud computing. So till now, any doubt? If you have, you can ask. Yes, any doubt? Okay. So if you don't have any doubt, we are now stopping our lecture over here. And for the next 1 hour, I will be giving you the questionnaires related to our assignment number 1. Okay. So whatever the questions are there, if you means as we are going to cover the topics in the upcoming lectures, you can go for solving those assignments. Okay. So maybe the assignments will be based on written material, or some programs are there, some outputs you have to show in the practicals. That kind of assignments I will be giving to you. Okay. So I will stop sharing my screen. And it is 2 o'clock now. So put your attendance in the chat window. And for today, you can leave.